What's up guys, PDC here, and today I'm going to be narrating my World Cup of Pokemon game versus Get Backer, me of US East, which is now in finals. This is a semifinals game by the way, and Get Backer of US West, so a nice East versus West matchup. And I'm just going to go over the teams right now. I'm going to be using something a bit different than stand balance this week. I'm actually using a more offensive team, which looks like it should be Dragmag, but it isn't because I think TDK decided last minute that Heatran was a bit better because of how annoying and stuff Talonflame could be, or other reasons, or extra help versus Zardex as well. Although then again, I have checks to that. I don't know. I don't know why he put Heatran over there. I guess it was just an extra revenge killer and speed over Magnezone, which would have made this team an extremely standard Dragmag team. But anyway, my team is definitely more offensive than usual, and Get Backer is running with a full-on hyper-offensive squad, with stuff like Cloyster and Pinsir and a bunch of basically physical attacker overload. And I'd say the matchups are pretty good. I say we both have Pokemon that do really good against each other. So I'm going to go ahead and decide to lead with a Thundurus, and he's going to decide to lead with a Gengar. Now, from turn 1 I thought, well, okay, I really cannot let Thundurus die because he has stuff like Pinsir, and I can T-Wave the Cloyster, and having it versus Azu and stuff like that, and Garchomp, and having great speed is going to be really helpful. So I decided on the Shadow Ball that I am going to go out to my Heatran here, which I do decide to go to. And it turns out this guy actually has a Destiny Bond Gengar, which immediately leads me to believe that this is Focus Sash. Now I decide to not, or Life Orb Destiny Bond, I don't know. I switched out of Heatran there, and I go into Thundurus, and he actually has Hypnosis, which is kind of annoying. I think the reason I switched out was because I did not think that he was, Sash at the time. I thought it was possible he could have been Life Orb, although then again that doesn't make too much sense for him to be Life Orb Destiny Bond if my Mun is faster than him. But I guess, you know, we'll leave that one up to the judges. So this might have been a little weird lead play on my part. If I probably just attacked it from turn 1 and then switched into Heatran, I think the sequence would have went a little bit better, but who really knows. So he's going to put my Thundurus to sleep with Hypnosis, which is kind of annoying. And I go out to Weavile here, and you're going to see me get a little bit lucky. He goes for the Shadow Ball here for some, you know, modest damage, and I am going to go for the knockoff. And it turns out, yes, it is Focus Sash, and he is going to go for the Focus Blast, but lucky me, he's actually going to miss, which is really good for me that he missed that Focus Blast. If he didn't, I would have been in a little bit more trouble, and the game would have been harder to win. So I am going to be able to knock out the Gengar with the knockoff, so that gives me the first blood of the game, but he did sleep my Thundurus, so that's really bad. So he's going to go up to his Cloyster, quite obviously. I did not think he would go to Weavile. And I knock it off, and I get another lucky break, and I crit him. And he's actually Watmoberry, which means that is, I believe, Natural Gifts Fire Cloyster for Othorn. But for some reason, he does not Shell Smash. Now, I know that he would not have been able to sweep my team there if he Shell Smashed or not, because I crit him, but just on principle, he should have Shell Smashed. So that was kind of a weird play on his part. He could have pretty much just won there, essentially, if he did. But I guess that's another day's thing. Well, I guess he didn't Oko Azumarill, so he didn't just win, but if he was King's Rock, he certainly... Well, then again, I would have knocked him off anyway, so I would have known what he was. So he didn't just win, but on principle, he should have Shell Smashed and gotten damage on the Azumarill. But with the crit, I am allowed to get a bit of a switch advantage here, and I decided to go out to my Altaria, which I think was a pretty good option here. I can just go for the fast return, since yes, this is a Jolly Altaria, and I know that I can outspeed the Cloyster 100%. So I just go for the return, and that is going to end the Cloyster. And considering Altaria really does not do that much this game, as he brings in whatever, you know, if whatever he decides to bring in, probably a Azumarill, I'm just going to go ahead and attack it, because I really don't want to risk a Belly Drum Azumarill or anything like that. So I just decided to go for the return for some really solid damage, and I'm going to let him kill me, but I really am not that bothered. So, judging from this team, I can at least assume, or at least I did assume, that this is a CB Azumarill. So I go to my Garchomp, which is going to outspeed it regardless of what it is, and I just decided to finish it off with an Earthquake. And now, the following couple, and that's crit did obviously not matter. So, the next couple turns, you're going to see a pretty back and forth, a return of hacks, if you will. He goes to the Garchomp, and I decide to switch back to Azumarill, as looking at his team, I just really thought that was not going to be defensive Chomp. I figured, okay, you know, it could be, but knowing Get Backer and his antics and how this team is just so physically overload based, I thought this could be a Dragon Dance, or not Dragon, the Swords Dance set with a stronger Dragon move than Dragon Tail. And I was correct, and I went to Azumarill on the Outrage. Now, you're going to see this game get a little bit tricky here. He goes with Earthquake, and I went for the play rough here. But surprise, surprise, I actually missed, which is perfectly fair considering the crit plus the Focus Blast missed. So I decided to go out to my Thunderous here, and Get Backer is going to continue to make, I guess, kind of more obvious plays. If he played aggressive here, I could have lost pretty easy. So he calls his Garchomp back, and he's going to bring out his Excadrill. Now his Excadrill, I'm going to be still asleep, but that does allow me to burn at least one sleep turn, so I have a potential to wake up in the following turn or two. So that's okay, and I just decided to go out to Garchomp, and he does, luckily for me, decide to not double switch. So this does allow me to bring my Garchomp in on the Excadrill. He gets a crit with Rock Slide, but that really doesn't matter. And I figure, okay, whatever he brings in, considering that it's probably not Rocky Helmet Chomp, I can just Dragon Tail it out and get a little residual damage. Although then again, if I did Dragon Tail the Pinsir out in the Garchomp, that would have been a little annoying, but then it really kind of depends. So I do miss the Dragon Tail, which does kind of suck, but at least it allows me to get some damage on the Pinsir, and that's really all Garchomp is good for at this point anyway. So he goes to return, and because I am Rocky Helmet Bulky Chomp, I'm gonna avoid getting killed by that. Well, actually, I think any Garchomp avoids getting killed by that. But I am going to live that and take a shit ton off his health bar with the Rocky Helmet plus Rough Skin, and this is basically just going to be a draw. So with the Fire Blast plus Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin, the Pinsir and the Garchomp are both going to go down. But that's pretty decent for me, because now that another Pokemon on his side is gone, this is just opening up my Thunderous, Heatran, and Azumarill a bit more, and I did not need Garchomp. It'd be nice, because now at this point, Excadrill is a threat. So Excadrill was certainly a threat to me right here. So this is kind of a problem. Admittedly, I really did not have another option. Technically, I could have went to Heatran here, but I thought, you know, it could have been a little troublesome if this thing was still alive, and I really didn't gain too much from going Heatran there anyway, so it was best that I kind of just sacrificed Garchomp there. Now it comes down to what he's going to bring out. Now, my obvious play here is to go out to my Thunderous, and he decides to go out to his Garchomp. Now, I really need to wake up in the following few turns. If I don't, then I'm pretty much screwed. Now, he does manage to get the Outrage off as I am still sleeping, and here it really pretty much comes, do or die, am I going to be able to win this game? And I end up going to wake up on this turn, right before I die from Outrage, and HP Ice and kill him. And that's going to be game. Knowing that it is Scarf Excadrill, and there is no way in hell he's beating a Heatran plus Azumarill with Rock Slide. And that's it. That's the game. Pretty fast pace, admittedly. So that's really what it comes down to. A couple plays and stuff like that. After Garchomp died, I was a little worried, and I was also a little worried he would send in his Excadrill on the Thunderous. And if he did that, then I would have been in a little bit more trouble. Although I probably just would have went to Heatran, and if he Earthquaked, I go back to Thunderous, and I waste a sleep turn. But then again, he still probably had a decent chance to win there, to be perfectly honest, if I did that. So, I don't know. I think he should have went to Excadrill on that switch, because he would have, unless he thought I would go Azumarill, but I think Excadrill would have been the better play there, but I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and go to my Chibi Azumarill, and I'm going to finish this Excadrill off with a Aqua Jet. So the mouse beats the mole, and that's the game. And I managed to get the first win of the US West versus US East series up, and we are now, as of this game, 1-0. But in the end, we actually did win the series, so yay, I got the first win of the win. So that kind of makes up for last round, where I got absolutely fucking pummeled by a pretty shitty matchup, but that's another game that you guys can choose to watch. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this World Cup replay. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe to the video, you know, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.